This is Algebra 1, Lesson 36b, minus signs and negative exponents. Now here's a little reminder for you. We've talked about this before. What does this symbol mean? We've used it a lot. When you first started using it, you thought of it as a subtract symbol or minus, and we still use it that way. And then you learned that you can use it as a negative when you had need for negative numbers. And then you've learned recently that it can be thought of as the opposite. And really all of these kind of mean the same thing, right? If I have 4 minus 2, that's the same thing as 4 plus a negative 2. And if I say, if I'm talking about a negative 2, I'm really saying the opposite of 2, which is negative 2. So they kind of all, they're shades of the same meaning, right? But how do we do problems like these? Look at these problems. Okay, opportunities for us to learn something here. They all look very, very similar. So let's talk about the kind of shades of meaning between each of these. Now you've had this before and you know that 4 squared just means 4 times 4. And that's equal to 16. That's probably the easier one. Unless you accidentally did 4 times 2 and got 8, which we've all done before. Don't sweat it, okay? All right, B. When we have a negative exponent, we learned a few videos ago, and I'll try to put a link to that in the description box, that when you have a negative exponent, it's really, you're talking about a reciprocal, okay? It's the reciprocal of 4 squared. So that's 1 over 4 squared, which is 1/16. Okay, so that's a different answer. Okay, that negative exponent doesn't mean the answer is negative. It means you're going to have the reciprocal of what was in the base. Okay, all right, then you have something like this. What is this? Well, often people think that that means negative 4 times negative 4, but it does not mean that. So how are we going to know? Well, the book gives a little tip, and it says to take your finger and cover the negative symbol. I'm going to pretend this is my finger, and I'm just covering that negative symbol. I know how to do the rest of it. I know that 4 squared is 4 times 4, right? Now I'm going to put back, uncover that negative symbol, and show it. That's what this means. It means the opposite of 4 times 4, which is negative 16. Okay, so the little, put your finger over the symbol, I think is helpful. The way I usually explain it, but I like the way the book said it, but I'll add this to it. The exponent belongs to whatever immediately precedes it. So this just belongs to the 4. You're repeating the 4 2 times. You are not repeating the negative. So there's another way to think about it. Okay, all right, let's look at D. This is different. I go to try to put my finger over that negative, but I can't. It's protected. It's inside of those parentheses. I can't cover that up without covering the parentheses as well, right? So this means negative 4 times negative 4. Okay? Again, the exponent belongs to what immediately precedes it. And it means I want you to repeat what's in the parentheses and have a total of 2 of them. Okay, so this answer would be negative 4 times negative 4, which is positive 16. Very, very important to distinguish between these two uses. They look so similar, but they mean different things. All right, let's look at E. E's a little bit different. Let's do the put the finger over this and deal with that in just a minute. We know how to deal with the 4 to the negative 2. We did that just a second ago. It tells me I've got the reciprocal of 4 squared, right? Then I uncover my opposite or my negative, and I put that on my answer. So that's going to be negative 1/16. Okay, I could put my finger over that negative 4 or think of it as an opposite as long as it's not protected by those parentheses. All right, let's look at F. Here, I can't cover up that negative. I run into my parentheses, the protection there, and I can see that I have 2 different things going on here. One, I've got a reciprocal And then I've got that negative 4 squared, which is equal to 1 over negative 4 times negative 4, which is equal to 1/16.